Good morning, James. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Dude, what a movie. And no, let's go even further than that. What an experience. This is an experience that really needs to be viewed and witnessed by so many people.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. A lot of hard work went into it with a lot of creatives, and to get that type of response from you, it means a lot to everybody. So thank you.
Well, every scene sets up the time of the season. I mean, it's the timeline is 1942, but every scene is just so perfect.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of rehearsing. That's the director working with our cinematographer Adam Kolodny and Robert Kolodny, our director, and painless work and rehearsal and lighting and just the way we shot it with the docudrama approach. Was very, very technical for them, but they're masters at it, and we were privileged to have them.
I love the way that you did do that in a documentary format, and because it gave me like a fourth dimension of the storyline.
Yeah, I mean, and for the actor as well. I mean, it's not typical for us to sort of spike a lens or bump into the camera or tell them go away. You're sort of avoiding it as an actor. So bringing in that dimension was strange, but like I always say, it gave you a credible amount of freedom to move around a room, to improvise, to work alongside your peers and your actors, and maybe try something new that may or may not stick to the wall and may not make it in the film. But yeah, it was pretty inventive. Yeah, it was good.
And you know what's really interesting about this, James, is the fact that this was before the internet. I mean, this is the only way that they could get the word out about what they were doing in any sport.
Wow, I never thought about that. That's interesting. Yeah, it was before the internet. We always thought of it as early on when it was being developed. The writer and producer Steve Loff, we always thought about when we went into this world of when he came up with this faux doc approach. It was sort of, where is Willie now? Like if ESPN in 1965 decided to knock on Willie's door and do a piece on him. And Willie was all excited and go, yes, I'd love to do this. This is great. Because guess what? I'm actually thinking about making my comeback, and this would be a great piece for you. When in hindsight, actually the documentary group gets a deeper dive behind the curtain of what's going on in Willie's life, right? His fourth wife of half his age is leaving him. His father's ill. His son's, addicted to drugs. He's back home living with his mother. He's got no money, and he needs a job. So one of the main things he wants to do is get back in the ring to make money, the only place he knows how to win.
Absolutely. One of the most priceless scenes, and I'll tell you what, I still laugh inside, is when you're playing bocce ball. I just thought that was priceless with the older people.
Yeah, we filmed in Hartford, and thank God for that, because it's Willie's hometown, and we were able to cherry pick sort of the Hartford flavor and the Hartford locals and just dip them into these scenes. They were fantastic. Those are just locals that actually play bocce ball, and we sort of infiltrated their game and filmed it. It was amazing.
Yeah, to me, that's part of the authenticity of this movie. I mean, even the gym where you practice. I mean, I've been to many of those gyms. I mean, when I saw those scenes, I was like, I know what it smells like. I know what the sounds are in that room.
Yeah, and that's what we wanted, and that's what the directors and all the creatives wanted, was to smell that. When you can't smell it, but visually when you see it, the first thing you think about is, I know that smell, I know that sound, and all your senses are going to work while you're watching some screen.
Willie's son brings up a very interesting point, and I thought it really was and you pulled on the strings of your heart. What happens if you can't fight like your father? I mean, it's brutally transparent.
Yeah, he says it all. I mean, he said it in there. I probably had more fights than my father. Willie's kid, Billy, we spent a lot of time with him during the development of this process, trying to get to know Willie. And obviously we're hearing Billy, his son's life story about it. And you could do a part 2 of this following Billy, because it's amazing how he was shipped off to boarding school, and knowing that he was Willie Pep's son, you would think that'd be a good thing, but it was actually the opposite. People wanted to know if he can fight, so he was picked on quite a bit. And I think, obviously, not that I know that stuck with Billy Jr. for his entire life. So Keir Gilchrist had some time to get to know Billy, and he passed now, Billy, and spend some time with him and sort of feel that. And I think some of those words that translated onto the screen really resonated with folks, and I'm glad that you noticed that.
The knockout scenes, because being a third-degree black belt in martial arts, I was in a lot of those fights. I was knocked out twice. I don't remember getting knocked out. I just remember waking up.
Well, as you know this better than me, you think you can fight until you get into a ring.
That's it.
And everybody that we casted opposite me in a fight was either a retired boxer or going pro or was pro. You have Bruce Carrington, who's an undefeated featherweight, who's rising up the ranks like no one else. He'll be champion soon. Trust me, Bruce Carrington. You can't tell these guys to hit halfway, to hit 50%, to hit 20%.
Yeah.
They don't know how to. So, yeah, my bell was rang a few times messing around with these guys. But, you want to save face. You want to stay tough. You got an entire crew watching you, depending on you. So, we got through it, but not with a couple of bruises. But I don't want to complain.
Well, but the thing about it is, though, James, is the fact that they call it martial arts for a reason, because it's the art. And I think this is the boxing art is also here as well. This showmanship is just authentic.
Well put. Exactly. Yeah, it is an art. And if anybody emulates art, it's Willie and his footwork and how he was able to not get hit, right? I mean, the reason why the guy fought all that time, 229 wins. I think he had 241 professional fights. To fight that long for 3 decades, and a lot of them at 15 rounds, and still have your wits about you in your 80s, that means you didn't get hit. His philosophy was don't get hit.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's that great quote is, Bert Sugar, I believe, said, you couldn't hit him in the ass with a handful of rice.
How did you get the footwork down? Because that's not an easy task. I still go over those steps all the time inside my imagination.
It's tough. I mean, if anything, that was the toughest thing to try and do was his footwork. Obviously, I get take 1, take 2. I'm protected by a camera. I'm protected by an edit. So, but you don't want to be an actor. You want to be able to give your director and your editor every opportunity to make this look as great as possible. The footwork is tough. The footwork is incredibly tough. I found it almost impossible because my natural ability is bull. I'm a bullish. I got that sort of Italian Mexican, throw you into a corner and just chop you down like a tree from the body up. That is my mental natural ability to fight. So I'm playing someone who we actually see on the lens. I mean, if you take Will Smith, for instance, who played Ali, he had to learn how to fight like Ali, who was so special.
Yeah.
You had to take me. I got to fight like Willie Pep is so special. Mark Wahlberg had to fight like Mickey Ward. We got footage on these guys that we have to fight like them. Then you take a fighter that you don't know. You take, Creed, or you take Jake Gyllenhaal's film. They could use their own style to make it sort of look incredibly well done, because they're not playing a specific fighter that's well known. Yeah. So there's 2 different elements to that. So there's a lot of pressure playing someone that got footage and is incredibly great and gifted in certain areas of fighting, like you said, in art.
I just got to give you guys kudos on this. This is not a Rocky Balboa movie. This is a movie that stands the match.
Love it. Great. I mean, that's kind of what we wanted. That's what we set out for, was to separate ourselves from these boxing films. At the same time, pay homage to sort of films and go back to the golden age of cinema and the history of boxing films and the Italian-American culture, the early immigrants, all that. So, I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad that message came across.
Well, please come back to this show anytime in the future, James. The door is always going to be open for you.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. It's been a great interview. Thank you so much.
Well, you be brilliant today, okay, sir?
All right. Thank you. Ciao. Appreciate it.